Hi everybody, it's Sarah Cray and I teach watercolor, and today we are doing our Let's Make Art Matter for our Wild Growth watercolor box. We have Keenan here working the cameras.
Hello, sorry for the delay.
It's okay, and our recipient this month is Jennifer. She works as the ESL coordinator for a nonprofit community-based adult English language literary program in State College.
Wow.
I had to read that because it was long, I couldn't remember it. But my mom's an ESL teacher actually, and ESL means English Second Language. So you're doing amazing work, and someone she works with nominated her because they've just seen the struggle of having to try and do all of this remote, make sure everybody has everything that they need. It's a lot of work. So let's take some time and show her some appreciation.
Okay.
Okay? So what I thought would be really fun to do if you watched our salt flower watercolor tutorials is I talked about how you can switch up the colors of this. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do like a peachy,
Yes.
floral, salt flower.
That's the only reason I showed up today.
It is. He still is not getting paid, so
No.
I can't blame him.
I had to bring my own Tupperware and they're empty.
Okay, so I am switching up the supplies a little bit from what we used in that project. I'm switching it to a just a round 2 and a round 6 brush. Since our postcard is small, I don't need my big round 12. And the colors that I am using are rose red, yellow, burnt orange, and azure blue. Now, I took orchid out of that, but we'll see what kind of like pinky peach we can make without it. I might have to add a little bit of there just to give it some pink, but we'll see. I'm gonna try and do it without. Okay, so the other thing that I wanna hint at is the salt that I'm using is a McCormick sea salt grinder, my favorite salt. And instead of grinding it directly onto the paper, which is what I did with the tutorial, I grinded some and put it on my palette back here. Because we're working in such a small space, I wanna be able to control where that salt goes. So I'm gonna like use my fingers instead of just grinding directly onto the paper. Okay, and then one other thing that I just wanna call attention to here is when you work like, and I'll show you this example, peach color is a lighter value than like the orchid mixed together, just naturally. It's a natural light value color, which means that you're gonna get some salt effects, but it might not be as contrasty as using like the project and the tutorials, just because the values that we're using are naturally lighter. So you will get some textures, but they might not be as visible or extreme just because of the colors and the values that we're using. That's not bad or good, that's just how it is, and I wanna call that attention out to you because I don't want you to think like, what am I doing wrong? Why is my salt not having such a huge effect? It has more to do with the colors than the salt.
Nice.
Okay?
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's get into it. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so I'm gonna take my round 6. Actually, let's mix our colors before, so we'll be ready to go. So you guys can see my palette. I'm gonna take some of my rose red and bring it to the middle, and I'm gonna add some water to it, and adding water to it is just gonna make it more pink. And then I'm gonna touch just a little bit of my yellow. Well, let's do a little more, like that. Okay, let's add some more water to it. I want more yellow, so let's do more yellow. Ooh, there we go. There's like a nice peachy blush color. That is beautiful. And for me, I don't know if you guys notice this about me, but I like to have a few different colors to choose from right away. So right now I have definitely more of a pink, I have more of a peach, and I'm gonna pull off to the side here and have it be even more of a yellow. Okay? And that's just because I like just dropping in different hues while I'm working for fun.
Which makes it more fun.
It does. Okay, so I got my peaches, and let's get going. So I have my round 6, and I'm gonna do kind of a, using water, just putting in a roundish kind of organic shape. I'm not being too careful about what it is that I'm painting. It's just round, okay? lifting up my brush, getting different strokes. Now I'm gonna take the color that I mixed and drop that in and let it spread. If it's not spreading, you can help it spread by just moving your brush or dropping water in. And I'm gonna grab some more of that more yellow peach for the center. Just like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, let's really play an experiment here. I have some darker colors. Okay, now I'm gonna pinch my salt and put some salt in. Okay. And let's do one more drop of color after putting the salt in. I have not experimented enough to be like, it does nothing when you put color in, or it does something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I think so.
Like after I put the salt in, I put more color.
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
that actually does anything or not. I don't know if it makes it worse.
Makes you feel better.
I just like being able to be like, salt, paint, water, more salt.
It's like a mixture, a recipe.
It's like I'm cooking.
Yeah. Cooking something.
Salt
Do
bake.
that thing. There you go. Salt bake.
Okay. Flower 1, done. I would just like to say this salt hasn't even dried, and I'm so happy with what's going on here. This is so cool.
Magical.
Okay. Now, for this second flower, I'm gonna make sure it's smaller, and I'm gonna go for a slightly different color. This one is definitely pink, and I'm gonna go for definitely more peach. So I'm gonna make sure that I have a good amount of peach ready to go on my palette. So it's kind of almost like a sherbet color that I have going on here, or a creamsicle.
I like creamsicle.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not a huge fan of sherbet.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of chocolate.
Doesn't, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, same.
Yes.
You're gonna give me sherbet, you're gonna give me chocolate. I'm gonna take chocolate every single time.
Amen.
Okay, second flower, just using my 6, just using water. I'm gonna go to the side of it and a little bit lower so they're not right next to each other. Right here, I'm gonna make sure that I'm lifting my brush, doing different strokes, and I'm gonna make sure it's smaller this time. Grabbing my peach, dropping that in. Using water to spread it. And while it's nice and wet, let's drop in some salt. And why not more salt over there? Okay. All right, step 1.
Done.
Done. And again, remember, you will not see the effects of salt until it is dry, so be patient. What?
I don't like to be patient.
Oh my gosh, I thought you were about to tell me that you didn't press record, and my heart sank.
Nope. I pressed record.
Good job, Keenan.
Thank you.
I don't like being patient either. Okay.
That was genuine fear.
That was genuine fear. It's really hard to re-record tutorials, you guys. It's so hard. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to kind of put in our background. We're going to spread the color that's already there or drop in more color, and we're going to drop in some green for our leaves. Okay. Now let's get that mixed up, ready to go. So I have my blue, and the color palette that I'm going for here, I really think some like turquoisey greens would be really pretty with this. Also some really yellow greens. So I'm gonna take my blue and my yellow.
Is turquoisey green, is it a softer green? Is that why you think it would match well?
I just feel like when it comes to peach colors, like salmon, peach, like it feels really good next to turquoise. Think of like island colors, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, now can you picture it?
Yes, I can.
So I lean towards those just because I like those color palettes together, but that is also a preference. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if you're just like, well, I don't know, how am I supposed to know what colors are gonna go good with what? You can always, 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 like here's a nice pretty turquoisey green, put that next to it and be like, yeah.
That
or
does
like,
look good.
Nope, not into that. And there's no wrong answer, okay?
Good.
This is your choice,
It's
totally.
a multiple choice answer question.
Yeah.
And
Every
They're
answer is
all
correct. That's the kind of test I want to take. I would be so good at school.
Yep. Amen. Yep.
Okay, and then let's see what it looks like with like a desaturated green. So I just mixed blue and burnt orange together. So see how different that feel is? So if I were to take away this turquoise color that I mixed, there's that.
Totally different feelings.
Or they're that, yes. Like this one's a little bit happier, a little bit brighter.
Yep, the other one was a little more somber.
Yeah, not that somber is bad. So again, think about, what do you enjoy painting? What feelings do you want to invoke? And how can those colors help you achieve those feelings? And it's just as simple as swatching it, putting it next to it and being like, okay, yeah. Or, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So I got some good greens. Let's go for this. I'm going to take my round 6. I'm going to make sure it's clean because I was just mixing green. Okay. And just using water, I'm going to spread, add water. Now, I was talking for quite a long time because we were mixing, and you'll see that this color really isn't spreading. When that happens, it's not a big deal. All you have to do is grab a little bit of color when you go to put your brush down. So it's just a tiny bit because we just want hints of color. Just grab some, pick a little bit up, put it down. Are they getting a good angle from the side cam?
Would you like to see it?
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that's good. Okay. So play, just drop in color, spread it out with water, let it bleed, let it be a little bit loose. I really like how there's that like soft pink edge right there.
I love, on the Salt Flowers project, I loved the background. Yes, I love the flowers, but the background was just so good. And
so fun, right?
Yes. So this one for sure, I'm just going to love this background just as much.
Okay, and I'm going to take, while it's nice and wet, I'm going to take this turquoise blue, and I'm going to put leaves here. And I'm going to put leaves, I like one here. So kind of similar to what we did in the project, but this is yours. So if you want to kind of adjust, make those decisions. And at this point, I'm going to introduce a little bit more of the regular green. So I'm adding yellow into my mixture. I'm going to drop that in too.
Oh, that's nice.
And let's do some like here. So again, I'm kind of making leaf shapes, but some of it I'm also just letting like bleed out. Maybe a little here. I want a little bit more with my leaves, but I like that. That feels nice to me.
Feels full.
Yeah. And maybe while it's nice and wet, if you want to put in some more pink, you can. Just remember that when you mix together pinks and greens, you're going to get like browns, a little bit muddy colors, which muddy colors absolutely have their place. So don't hate on them. I just don't want you to get frustrated by them. I'm already so in love with this postcard. Doesn't it remind you of like fabric a little bit?
It makes me think of, okay, it's kind of weird, but it makes me think of like those old floral couches.
Yes!
And it makes me feel like I'm about to get a hug from a grandma.
Yes!
Like a warm hug.
Oh my gosh, we're just sending an art hug to Jennifer.
Yes.
I hope she feels it. Okay. Now what we are going to do is we are going to let this dry because the layer we want to put on top, we want to make sure it's nice and sharp. So I'm going to take my craft heat it craft tool.
And craft it.
And craft it and heat it and dry it.
Give me an H, give me an E, give me an A, give me a T. Heat it. Yay!
Were you a cheerleader?
I mean, it's like a spirit animal of mine.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I could be a cheerleader.
Yes.
All smiles and cheers.
You are an art cheerleader for sure.
I am an specific art cheerleader.
I know. Maybe we should make a little figurine of Keenan holding pom-poms. And you press it down and you could be like, wow!
If we could create anything we wanted, what if the pom-poms. If you push my head down, I
Yeah.
say something, but out of my hands come brushes.
Yes. It was funny because that's partly why I really enjoy filming with you is
Yeah.
because when I just drop paint in, you're like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, yes. The worst is when I do something cool and nobody reacts. And I'm like, you guys, that was really cool.
Were you not watching?
Were you paying attention? Because this is exciting what's happening here.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. That feels good. And you can see my salt is starting to have some textures. Now, again, these textures are not as extreme as when we did the project, and that has more to do with the colors that we're using and their light value, okay? But for me, personally, when I use salt in my own work, and I love throwing salt in them for textures, my favorite areas are actually to do it in the light value area because they create visual interest without distracting from the overall picture or painting. Because sometimes if you drop in when it's like super dark value saturated and that salt creates like huge contrast, it makes our viewer's eye go right to it, which is really cool. But sometimes I want to be like, wait, I still want to be clear, like this is a landscape. So I love the subtle hints of texture differences that you can get when you drop that salt into a lighter value. I think they're beautiful.
Agreed.
Okay, so now this is dry, so I can do my leaves on top. Now you guys can decide at this point if you want to use your 2 or your 6. It really depends on your comfort level of each brush and what size you want your leaves to be. I'm going to start with my 6 and just see how that feels. And I went really bright with these colors, which I think is beautiful. And I'm going to see what it looks like if I add a little bit more of that desaturated green on top. Let's just see.
Okay.
And I kind of like to experiment as I'm painting and being like, how does this feel? Is this working or is this not working? And I can always change my mind.
I also like how you showed that piece of paper with the color swatch next to it so you can kind of put it close to it.
Yeah.
I like that as a test to see how it's going to work.
Okay. So I used a mixture of the burnt orange yellow and the Tahoe blue to get this darker, little bit darker green. I'm gonna swatch it next to it. Ooh, I think that's pretty. I like that, and then I'm gonna drop in some like yellows and blues in that.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do a leaf coming out here. Filling it in with some water. And let's add some like turquoise, but dark turquoise. Ooh, look at that color.
The forest green.
That's pretty. And if you want to do just water.
See, this is my favorite.
Ooh, look at that color.
Yep.
Ooh, that's really nice. I'm just going to drop a little bit at that tip and let that bleed, and then I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm going to switch to my 2 because it is hard for me to get some nice fine lines. And I'm going to reshape some of these. But you don't have to because like leaves exist in nature like that, you know?
You haven't touched that other leaf?
This one?
Yeah.
I just put it a dark one right at that center and then let it bleed and move. That's it.
If I don't look at it for a few seconds, it changes every time I look back to it.
Yeah. And that's why I think, especially in watercolor, I'm such a proponent of let your painting inform you as you go. Because with watercolor, your values and your painting change as it dries. Values usually dry a little bit lighter, and that water and paint continue to move while it's wet, even if you move on to another area. So you kind of have to like see what's going to happen and then come back to it after it's dry because it will look different. Oh my gosh, I'm so in love with the colors over here.
That whole set of leaf right there is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, let's keep going. I'm getting really excited about this. Okay, so I'm gonna do another leaf here. And I'm just painting right on top of the green. I'm not trying to match them perfectly. I'm not focusing too much on the overall shape. I'm I'm just kind of just painting on top of it. I really loved the hint of blue.
Yes.
I'm going to do another kind of blue one down here. That's nice. Okay. And then maybe this one needs like more of a yellow kind of coming up this way. Yeah. And I'm going to address this corner over here. And let's put in the project, I didn't really do the stem first. Let's put the stem first to show you guys that there's different ways that you can approach.
Well, that's a good idea.
So let's do, I'm thinking about the direction I want my stem. So I think I'm going to have it kind of curve down this way. Now the reason why I'm going to have it curve down this way is because I could have it go out like this, but then that would match the angle of this one. And so it could create an implied line that shoots right across my painting. Again, not bad, but I'm just trying to be aware of how this is going to move the viewer's eye. And I feel like maybe if I move it down this way, it will make them go here and then make them go up here and then kind of come back to it. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to do like just a stem. Remember, you don't want to do a kink in the stem. It's like just a curve. And then you can do a stem kind of coming off this way. Maybe here's a leaf here. And now you can add your...
And I've seen some various flower arrangements over the years, and they occasionally have just sticks.
Yes.
And I wonder if that might even look kind of cool if you throw a stick in here somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know what color, maybe a brown or a desaturated green.
I think like an ochre would look really pretty with this.
Oh, that would look good.
But I mean, yellow ochre is like one of my favorite colors. So that would make sense why I love it.
And it sounds like okra.
It does.
And fried okra is fantastic.
I've never actually tried okra.
It's got to be cooked right. If it's not cooked right, it can be a little slimy. You know,
Yeah.
Overcooked, it's crunchy.
Okay, so I think that feels really good. I'm going to do a larger leaf kind of coming up this way because I feel like this is a large area and it needs just a little bit more going on over here. There we go, that feels better. I'm loving these colors. I love how different, like I just want to show you guys. It's such a different feel.
Yeah. You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
And I hope this doesn't throw it off.
Okay.
But I love how subtle the whole flowers are. Mm-hmm. Because I see the leaves first, and then I go to the flowers, and then I see the detail inside the flowers. I'm like, holy cow, this is way more than just a bunch of leaves.
There's so much more to this.
So much more to this.
Okay, Keenan, what do you think? Do you think I should do like little drops of this color in there?
Where are you thinking?
Like maybe here.
Wait, yeah, because that like
here.
matches really well with the center of the more pink one.
So what I did is I took some yellow, a little bit of burnt orange, and now I have this kind of gold color. And let's just do like...
Oh, that would look really good on one of the blue leaves. Like a dry technique.
Yeah. Like I'm just kind of doing it
See,
as
I
in
love
like
that.
little like
Oh, snap.
droopy flowers kind of coming out.
Yep.
That feels good. Let's drop this color in here, like you said. Now it's not gonna look the same because it's going on top of blue, so it's gonna read more green than our yellow. But now I feel like this color is missing from the right half of my painting. So I'm gonna introduce it in the background over here. Ooh, I love that.
That is crazy.
And then, because you guys know me and I like to do something and then just mess it up, I'm gonna just take a damp brush and mess up some of these things. Let them kind of bleed out. So then it has a similar feel to the background. Yeah. This is so fun. And if you want to even go further and do like even little tiny leaves kind of coming off in that like light turquoise, feel free to, you know, like here's some. Again, this is your painting. You can see what I'm doing and say, you know what, that's not really for me. I like what I'm have going on instead, and that's totally fine. No offense taken. I would rather me try it and you guys be able to see it and then make decisions instead of you guys being scared to try it. Okay?
Okay.
Gosh, I love that. Okay. And the last thing that I want to do is like the details. So our very last step, sorry, I'm going to scrub that out. Our very last step is we're going to go in and kind of, if we want to do any drawing marks around our flowers, petals, or our leaves. So I'm going to mix a dark green here, but I'm going to have more blue in it, so it's more that like really like turquoisey color here, but dark. And just taking your round 2, draw. You can put in the veins, you can re-outline the leaves. Like just kind of, here I'm just going to draw a leaf and I'm not going to fill it in.
Yes.
Maybe it needs one of those over here. Oh yeah, that's nice. Okay, and then now we're going to our flowers. So I'm going to do a little bit of like petal detail. I actually really love this one. I love what's happening here. And I feel like that yellow center with the darker pink edge is giving me that kind of floral feel. The pink one, I'm gonna go in and just do a little bit of petal edges. So I'm gonna mix a darker peach because I wanna make sure it shows up. So just using the pink that's already on my palette, I'm just gonna make a darker version of that color. And let's do a little bit of a boop, boop, boop. And maybe here's a petal edge. And then you can decide, like, is that too dark? And if you put it down and you're like, I don't really like that, you can soften it and kind of blend it out. Okay?
Okay.
So if you work quick enough, like, all is not lost. I felt like that was a little bit too dark, so I'm going to lighten up my color. There we go. That feels better to me.
Oh, nice.
And just kind of start putting in petals. And if you want to do little detail lines, you can.
Wow.
And I'm going to do a darker center on here. Boop, 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 boop. Just dots right in the middle. Oh yeah. Is that nice?
Yes, it is.
Maybe that needs a little yellow. Okay.
Lovely.
So fun. So, how do I say this? It feels like warmth. You know? It does kind of feel like a hug.
Like a nice summer picnic. Wow.
Yeah. And I hope that you guys, well, one, I hope that you guys do this. And two, I hope you guys can see that, like, we took the same techniques and ideas that we used in this project and ended up with something that feels totally, totally different. And that is what I hope you take from these lessons. I hope that you see how I do something, and instead of saying, okay, I'm going to do exactly that, think, how can I take this and make them mine? Because I like these colors, and I like this technique, and I like this. So like, I'm giving you all of the ingredients. You pick and choose what you want to make with them. Okay?
Okay.
Great. Now, if you don't know what Let's Make Art Matter is, it is our my favorite thing about what we do with our subscription boxes. So inside every box, you will find a pre-addressed and pre-stamped postcard, watercolor postcard on watercolor paper so you can paint on it. And then all you have to do is drop it in the mail. And that's because I have found through my life that art is a way that we can connect with each other without having to have the exact right words to say, without having to make a big show, without having to say like, what do you need from me? Instead, we can just say, I appreciate you. I'm thinking about you. You're on my heart. Or, you know, like, and when we take the time to think about other people, when we recognize that we're all experiencing this life together and all have stress and pain and joy and sorrow, it helps us become more empathetic and aware. And I think that if we can be more aware, then I think we can just make the world a kinder place, because really, we're all doing this together. All we have is each other. So please take the time to do this. I want you to do everything else, but like, do this. Grab a friend, grab a family member, grab someone, paint a postcard, just drop it in the mail. Don't worry if it's perfect. As someone who has received postcards, I don't really care if this is the best painting in the world. It matters so much that someone took the time to paint something for me. Like, that's so incredibly thoughtful. So don't stress about that. Just make something, send it to them. Say thank you. Let's say thank you to Jennifer for all of her hard work. We all could use a little bit of extra love and appreciation. And if you have someone in mind that you think could benefit from this, you can nominate them on our website. Just go to letsmakeart.com, scroll to the bottom. We have a nominate button. And I just so appreciate you guys doing this with me. So paint your postcards, send them in the mail. Thank you for being amazing. And we'll see you guys next time.